Let me ask you something. What if your character was a building? Today we're diving into a really powerful idea called spiritual equilibrium. It's this concept that your life needs a solid internal architecture to support any success you built on top of it. Because, without that strong foundation, the whole thing can just come crashing down.
Okay, look at this number, 70%. Just let that sink in for a second. This isn't just some random statistic. It's a pattern, really. A pattern so predictable it's almost like a law of nature. A law that seems to govern what happens with sudden wealth.
Because that's right, 70% of lottery winners go completely bankrupt within just 5 years. And it's not just them, is it? We see the same story play out all the time with star athletes, with tech founders who hit it big overnight. They get everything they ever wanted, and then, poof, it all implodes. This is not just a series of coincidences.
No, this isn't just bad luck. It's more like a law of physics for the soul. Think about it. External success has this massive gravitational pull. If your character is strong, you can handle that weight. But if it's weak, you just get torn apart. And this is a law we ignore at our own peril. This law is what we're calling spiritual equilibrium. The principle is actually pretty simple. Your external success can never, ever sustainably exceed your internal infrastructure. So if your bank account grows way faster than your character, the weight of that blessing doesn't build you up, it crushes you. Your inner world must be strong enough to support your outer world.
So let's get into our first section, the law of equilibrium. How do we actually build that internal support? Well, it all starts with understanding the difference between building your life on solid rock versus building it on sand.
I mean, the way we often do it is kind of absurd, right? You would never put a rocket engine on a wooden cart. It's a recipe for disaster. But that's exactly what so many of us do with our lives. We chase this massive success while we're running on minimal character. It is a guaranteed crash.
This whole idea goes way back to that ancient parable of the two builders. On one side, you've got the foundations of sand, things like talent, charisma, good market timing, maybe just dumb luck. And hey, that stuff can get you to the top, for sure. But it's the stuff on the other side, the foundation of rock, integrity, humility, self-control, that keeps you there when the storms of life inevitably hit.
And this is just such a crucial point. Listen to this. Success doesn't change you, it magnifies you. It takes who you already are and just cranks the volume all the way up. So think of your character as a container. If that container is small and you pour this massive blessing of success into it, well, it's just going to spill everywhere and make a huge mess.
Okay, on to our next section, the high-risk deficit. This is all about that dangerous imbalance we see everywhere in modern hustle culture, right? It's what happens when your portfolio starts to seriously outweigh your peace of mind.
I mean, just consider the case of King Solomon, arguably the wealthiest person in all of history. This guy had everything, and after having it all, what was his conclusion? He wrote that the pursuit of wealth without some deeper spiritual grounding was like chasing after the wind, an empty, utterly exhausting pursuit. You see, at the very heart of this equilibrium law is this idea. A good name, your character, your integrity, is way more valuable than great riches. But our culture today has completely inverted this. We're taught to sacrifice our good name for the riches, and that's exactly what creates this dangerous deficit.
And this is what that deficit looks like. Let's call it a spiritual deficit. Your great riches bar is maxed out at 100, but your good name, your internal character, is way down at 20. When you're living in that state of imbalance, you're in a super high-risk zone. You are literally one crisis away from total collapse. All right, so that's the problem. And it's a pretty big one. So what's the solution? Let's dive into our final section, building your soul equity. This is an actionable framework to bring your life back into equilibrium.
So here are 3 really powerful ways to build up that internal foundation. First, practice anonymous generosity. Do something significant for someone and then tell absolutely no one. In an age of personal branding, doing good without taking credit starves the ego, which is the enemy of sustainable wealth. Second, audit your heart. Regularly ask yourself that tough question. Does this money own me or do I own it? And be honest. Finally, third, prioritize peace over power. Any deal that costs you your integrity is a net loss, period. I don't care what the ROI is. The spiritual cost is just too high.
Ultimately, it all comes down to this timeless question. This isn't about a financial P&L statement, it's about the P&L of your life. And gaining the whole world at the cost of your soul is the single worst trade you could ever possibly make.
So I'll leave you with this final, challenging question. Forget your financial targets for a moment. What is the one character trait, integrity, humility, generosity, that you are intentionally investing in this year? Because your answer to that question might just be the most valuable asset you ever build.